cheese and onion pie. This one's going to be a good one. Right, let's have a look. We're starting off with 250 grams of flour. We're going to make this with a standing crust, but the top is going to be topped with my friend Emma's special flaky pastry, which I've made a batch up of there. And we'll need, for the standing crust, we'll need 250 grams of flour. I've got 56 grams of lard here. I'm going to need 120 grams of liquid or stock, but we'll come to that when I make up the pastry. And you'll need some salt. You'll need some pepper. I've got 2.5 medium-sized brown onions which I've cut up. I've got 220 grams of mature cheddar. I use mature cheddar because it's got a nice, well-developed flavour. You don't have to use mature cheddar. Use any sharp cheese you can get your hand on. 600 grams of mashed potatoes. These are Maris Pipers, which mash up really lovely. And I'll be using a 9-inch springform pan, which you just see I've just sprayed with some oil on the inside. And Emma's pastry. Right, Emma's pastry, you're going to have to go to Emma's turkey pie video, which I'll link up here. Where is it? Up here. Emma's pie video. And see how she makes this. It's quite easy to make. It's really, really quite easy. And what I do, once it's made up, I just keep that in the fridge until I need it. Okay, I've got a small saucepan over high heat. And into that, I'm just going to pour in a mixture of milk and water. That's half and half. And that's about half a cupful, half a mugful. And into that, I'm just going to put all my onions. And then I'll cover that now and steam that off for about, I'll bring it to the boil, steam it off for about 2 minutes. Okay, it's about a minute into the steam. I just want to get the onions to the state where they're completely relaxed. At the moment, they're still a bit rigid. So I'm going to get them to relax a bit more, another minute. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, that's nice and relaxed now. And then what I want to do now is I want to get those strained off. So I'm going to strain them into a bowl and catch the liquid underneath them. Oops. Butterfingers. Okay, I've strained the liquid from the onions, but I'm keeping that because that's all flavour. We don't want to throw that away. So the next thing I want to do is make up the liquid for my standing crust pastry. So I'm going to use the pan the onions were boiled in, and I'll just tear that weight down to 0. And then I'm going to add the strainings from my onion liquid, and then I need to make that up to 120 grams in total. And then what I'll do is I'll bring this to the boil and add in my lard. So all I need to do now is weigh out my flour and wait for the lard and liquid mixture to boil. Alright, that's weighed out 250 grams. I'm just going to put a pinch of salt in it, about half a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to take my hot lard and liquid mixture and add it in. Make a little well in the middle and add it in. Let's get that out of the way. And then stir that into mix. You don't want to get in there with your hands just yet because that's going to be hot. You can use all-purpose flour for this, ordinary plain flour. I'm using an extra 000 fine flour for this. And then as soon as you can start to work it, that's what you have to do. And then we can put that onto our work surface, and then I'll get ready to work it. Alright, I'm set up for pastry now. So what I want to do is sprinkle some flour onto the surface, and the colder the surface the better. I've got this granite slab, and also I like to get a bit of flour on my rolling pin Again, that's a stone rolling pin, which is rather useful. And then I want to get this worked a bit, so I just pull it, push it, pull it and push it like that, and it can use a bit of work. Just do that for a minute or so, and once you're happy that that's all right, what I like to do then is turn it in with my fingers as I'm turning like that. Don't ask me why I do it, force of habit I guess. And then flour your board, and then we need to roll that out real flat. And I'm rolling it out fairly thin. It's not like a British pork pie, that's different. I'll have to do a pork pie recipe for you. Okay, that's about as big as I'm going to manage with this stone surface, so I'm going to fold that over like that and drop it into my pie tin, and then what I'll do is I'll push it in at the corners and then work it up the sides, and then I'll work it further up the sides. Just keep going round, working it up the sides. Doesn't need to go all the way up to the top, but I like to get it all the way to the lip because this is a big pie with a big filling. And no, I'm not going to blind bake it. I know some of you get in the comments and ask me why I don't blind bake, because I don't need to. This is really thin, and we're going to be baking this for quite a long time on a lower setting, so there's no need to blind bake it. Okay, so it's now's the time to start on the filling. So what I'll do is I'll just put that to one side. It doesn't matter if it dries out a bit, in fact that's advantageous. And then we work on the filling. So into the filling pot goes all my potato, and that's 600 grams of mashed potatoes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fork it loosely so that everything that's dropped onto it mixes in rather well. So into that I'm going to get some cheese, all my cheese, and this potato, it's not hot, that's been allowed to cool off. In goes the cheese, and then mix that one in. Just tumble it, don't want to put pressure on it, just tumble it. So we've got all that potato mixed in with the cheese. Where you see large areas of cheese, you just mix some potato into it and then end up like that. Okay, into that goes our now cooled off slightly onions. A little warmth in the onions doesn't matter, because that will help the flavours mix in with the rest of the pie filling. And then we just stir that into mix. And the reason I cut the onions that way is so that it gives some structure to the pie filling. So it makes that really handy to use as a picnic pie. We get our lovely pie crust, and we load it up. Substantially big pie, this, boys and girls. This is a picnic pie. My favourite kind of pie is a picnic pie. So all that goes in, and then we'll tease it into the shell. And you can leave a little dome in the middle, don't worry about that, because domes is good. So it's slightly raised in the middle, but teased down in the corners. I'm just going to put that to one side now, and then we'll work on the lid. So out of the fridge comes my Emma's pastry made with 100 grams of flour. Just going to dip that in the flour, put it down onto a flour board and roll it out. Super easy to work with, this is. super easy. Keep your board well floured though. It's nice having a heavy rolling pin like this, it takes all the work out of it. Roll that out. It's a lot easier to work with than some pastries. I really like this. But you'll see that on Emma's video. Make sure you go check out Emma's video. And that lady can really cook, I tell you. She can cook. She can cook like a boss. They eat well in the Baird household, I tell you, and they're all mostly homegrown food. Right, that should be a decent pie lid for that. So what I'll do is I'll fold that over, dust it on that side, fold it over again, and then lift it up, bring hither the pie, and then lay that over like that. And then force it into the corners. Don't stretch it though. Lift and push, lift and push like that until it forms a pie crust. Then what I want to do is I just want to trim off those for a second. So I'll do it with this, it's easy enough. So I'll trim those bits off and you'll see how we finish this little beauty. So with very little trim, what I'll probably do is just bake those off. My brother will eat that. And then I push that in like here. Let's get in closer. I push that in there, tease it away from the wall. So tease the hot crust, the hot dough pastry in from the wall and fold it in and around, so it starts to fold in and around like that. You're watching me, you're following me, I know you are. And then what we do is we go in, push that in. So I'm going around pushing the lid pastry underneath the rolls of hot dough pastry, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around again and fold it over it again like that. We're nearly there, boys and girls, we're nearly there. Your patience will be rewarded. I've sent you off to Emma's site to find some pastry and then come back here, but you'll soon be rewarded for your diligence. Right, then I'm going to push it in with my thumb like that on each one, pushing in and down, in and down, in and down, in, down, and just go round like that until I got her all the way round. And once we got like that, go round again, only this time in the intermediate bits like that, but not pushing so hard this time. So there we are, the pie. Right, the next thing we'll need is a little vent hole, and I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to put a slit in there and a slit in there like that, and I think I'm not even going to give that an egg wash. I think that will be just great as it is, because Emma's pastry has a lovely flaky texture, and it just puffs up a little bit, and it's absolutely wonderful. If you see the pastry, you can still see the flecks of butter in it where they've just got coated with the flour, so it's really excellent. Look at it. So right, baking. That needs to go into a preheated oven at 160 degrees, and it needs to bake for at least an hour. But if it takes any longer, I will let you know in the reveal. Right, let's have a look at this. Oh yes. Oh, very yes. Oh. Oh yes, look at that. Gorgeous. Well, I don't know about you boys and girls, but I'm rather happy with that. Now the painful part is I'm going to have to wait and allow that to cool off before I cut it. You'll see it in a few seconds. Okay, it's cooled down enough for me to release it from the springform, and it's still sat on its base, but there you go, that's the standing crust, and it's looking rather good, looking rather attractive. I'm rather pleased with that. Now I've just got to be patient. I want to cut into it straight away and eat it, but I've got to be patient. Okay, now is the moment of truth. I'm going to put a knife to it. Oh, listen to that as it cuts down. Then I'm going to turn it. Oh yes. Let's get that even closer for you. Check that out. How gorgeous is that? Well, time to serve that up. But there you go, boys and girls. Cheese and onion pie with a standing crust and my friend Emma's flaky pastry top. That top is just, woohoo! That top is just amazing. That is going to be a delicious pie and a perfect picnic pie. Enjoy. Hey friends, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications for all my future videos. It would be great to hear from you in the comments, and I'll try to get back to as many of you as possible. You may wish to check out these titles or even help me out with a donation using the links in the description below the video. Thanks for watching.